Here we go, and we're off. We'll start
That's all
again.
right. We got all the slurs out.
We got all the
started.
slurs out. Yeah, we got all the fucking.
I wiped the black paint off my face, and now we're ready to roll.
It's good to just get it out of your system.
Yeah, well, I like to start the day with a bit of blackface, just because if you do it before the cameras roll, you can't get cancelled.
Well, you get it out of the way quickly. You know what I mean? You're like, I've done the like. You don't have to worry about it. You're like.
I think that's how races should operate. They should just like have like there should just be like an hour of a day where just you just be racist first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Just from like before anyone else wakes up. Like from like, I don't know, 6 till 7.
Yeah.
That's like racism hour.
Racism time, yeah.
Just go out
Happy
and
hour.
just do whatever you got. Just do whatever you want. But it's just like
wait, what are you trying to say? That you're saying the people of different races aren't awake at that time? You're saying they're sleeping in?
Famously, famously very lazy, the non-whites.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we put that out, can we put this out between the hours of 6 and 7 a.m.?
Yeah, of course.
That goes put in there.
But I was thinking the other day, I thought that a good way for people to get racism out of their systems is, like VR headsets.
VR headsets.
So you put on the VR thing and you're in a virtual reality world.
Yeah.
And you can go around just beating up minorities. And
Well, that's like GTA.
it's like GTA, yeah, but you get to actually physically
Right.
punch, and then you can just like shout slurs and just fucking like just get it out of your system,
We are joking, but there is a truth to the fact that racism is always going to exist.
Yeah.
So you do need to give the racists an outlet of some sort, because otherwise it does fester and they end up doing real fucking bad shit.
Yeah.
That's why I like the show Border Security.
Oh, big fan of Border Security.
Yeah.
Nothing to declare and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, just all those types of shows where it's basically just, Australia has a very famous version of it. But it's not just, there's every like Western country has its version of that TV show.
Yeah.
Which is just, hey, this is the border to our country.
Yeah.
And we're going to film people who aren't white trying to bring a fish in a suitcase.
Yeah.
And
that's what it always is.
it's always something like that.
And they're just confused. They're like, why? Why can't I bring
They
it?
don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they can't bring
It's a
in
fish.
a bag of crickets.
It could have swum here. I can't bring a fish?
Yeah.
They actually have a great point because Australia's biosecurity laws are insanely insanely strict, and then you arrive in Australia and like I know you have to protect the ecosystem, but the ecosystem's pretty fucking cooked already.
Right,
So
okay.
I feel like a fish in a suitcase isn't going to really make the difference here.
No. I feel but like sometimes the stuff that they try to bring in is like, it's like, oh yeah, you got a bag of live turtles or whatever, and they're like, I can't bring this in.
Yeah.
There's guy, David McSavage, this Irish comedian.
Yes.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know of him.
Yeah. He has this great bit about like if there's an Asian person on like Nothing to Declare, they have heroin in their asshole. Like
Yeah.
Or do you think like the turtles and stuff are just a distraction?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. There could be. I remember there was.
I literally used to have a bit about that. Like,
What,
literally
the
used to have,
turtles?
like, just the bit was like, it's always like a Vietnamese man with a fish in the suitcase.
Yeah.
And the reason why he does that is because once you find that, you don't look for drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like,
yeah.
that's clearly the
He's got a
worst.
fish in his
This is
asshole.
Exactly. Yeah. He's got another fish up the asshole.
Yeah.
And that fish is
Just a decoy fish. Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to smuggle fish.
One day he gets the heroin and the fish mixed up.
Yeah.
He's got the heroin in the
They're
bag
like,
and
why
the
is
fish
this-
up the
Oh
asshole.
fuck! I got it.
No.
Why is this fish in your asshole? It's like, that's just how I eat it. That's just how I eat it backwards.
That's how we eat it in China.
It's better calories.
yeah.
But what I was saying is that it's not just an Australian thing. Like the UK has its version.
Yes, yeah.
Like every Western country has its version of that show because the racists just need something. There's no
Wonder
racist
what he's
TV
got.
anymore.
Yeah.
is that
for
porn
sure.
for racists?
It's porn for racists.
Yeah.
Because the racists don't have any TV made for them anymore. It used to be
No.
that everything was made for racists.
Yes. Yeah.
And now there's one thing left, and it's border security.
Yeah.
And if you take that away from them, they will be violent.
Yeah.
You got to play border security during the hours of 6 a.m.
Well, they don't have my
7 a.m.
Instagram algorithm then. They get it out of my system.
They've got that. They've got Haim stand up on Instagram.
Yeah. No, I think Ireland now we don't have any sort of border security. We're just like,
What's going on with Ireland right now? Because I feel like it's. I mean, all I hear from Ireland is like on Twitter. You just hear like a lot of like Irish racists talking about like tweeting like Ireland is for the Irish.
Ireland's full, etc. Yeah.
And I don't know anything about the place. It just seems. Is it getting racist?
It's getting.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, a little bit. I mean, I think they've always been. I don't think the people who weren't racist are becoming racist. I think it's just the people who were racist are kind of like, oh, this is our chance to kind of be openly sort of anti-immigration. But the problem is that there is a genuine, like, there's like 10,000 homeless people in Dublin alone.
Right.
Which is fucking mental.
Is that lots?
Here we go.
That's a lot of people, right? Yeah. And the...
Wait, homeless immigrants?
No, well, yeah, well, there's homeless Irish people, and then we let in like Ukrainians, and then fucking during the Ukraine-Russia war, and then Middle Eastern sort of immigrants and stuff,
right?
And then now it's just like it's a little bit chaotic, like like they're kind of they're like earmarking like hotels in like little rural villages in Ireland, and they're like, let's just put like 50 Syrians. In a town where a lot of the people have probably never seen anyone who's not white, and they're like, everything will be fine. We'll just put 50 Syrian men in this hostel, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And then like the GP services get overrun, and the fucking all this sort of stuff, and
they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs,
they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're doing all of that.
Yeah.
They're trying to ban pride. But
can I just say, the people who are worried about immigrants, this is the thing about like racists ruin the debate. Because like immigration is like there's a genuine debate to be had there. There's both sides to that thing where it's like, okay, immigration is good for these reasons, but too much immigration is bad for these reasons.
Yeah.
Like there is like a genuine debate to be had that reasonable people can have. But then you've just got these fucking insane people, but on both sides, who come out and just ruin the debate.
Yes.
Because people will just be like, hey, let's have immigrants, let's have refugees, but can we bring them in a way that we can control, and we have the infrastructure that exists for them?
Yeah.
And that's a very reasonable thing to request.
Yeah.
And then someone, some bluehead fuckwit will just be like, you're a racist pig because, whatever. And then, of course, it's on the opposite as well. They'll be like, no, Ireland is for the Irish, and we want white Catholics in this country, and that's what this country was built on. Yeah. That's my Irish accent.
Yeah, that's decent,
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. But that's my point. I just feel like there actually is like a very reasonable debate to be had about immigration, but it just gets absolutely fucked up by idiots on both sides.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no nuance or anything in debates, but like the fact like Irish people are like anti-immigration is insane because like
you're the most immigrating people in the world.
We invaded Australia. We invaded America. We go to Australia and we fucking
but everyone understands that. They're like, well, you came from Ireland? Yeah, we get it. Like,
right. But like...
You're like the only... Ireland's not the only country. Fact check me on this.
Yeah.
Like, the population has, like, decreased or, like, stayed the same for, like, 150 years or something. I don't know the exact stat, but there's something about how Ireland's population basically hasn't gone up, certainly nowhere near the way that other...
They just can't be fucked counting them.
Yeah.
They're just like...
we can't count. We did lose a few during the famine now.
Of course.
A baker's dozen during the famine.
They just rounded it up to 13.
Let's not use a baker's dozen to describe a famine.
No.
All the metaphors we could use here. A food-based metaphor?
Yeah, no, that's insensitive. I think there's more... I mean, I don't know. I won't speak to that, but yeah, it's been hovering around 5 million for a while, and but around 6 million, but some people claim it's 200,000.
Sounds exaggerated to me, but anyway.
But
does this go on YouTube? Because that's getting taken down. Fuck yeah.
It's nowhere near the worst thing that's been said on this.
Yeah.
But there's a statistic that there's more Irish people in America than there is in Ireland. But people of Irish descent or ancestry.
But that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but then we go to Australia, and from what I've heard is that we cause havoc. Like we fight and we...
I don't know. I don't come across that many Irish in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, there's not like... It's not a huge thing there. You wouldn't...
Because
I mean, they all hang out at Bondi Beach and just get severely sunburned.
But are you talking about people on holiday, or are you talking about people that have moved there?
People who've moved there, no?
Yeah.
I only know like 2 Irish people that have moved to Australia.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they get diluted by...
I know about 100.
Yeah.
But they all go over there to do like nursing or engineering or.
That is actually
something.
true. They actually all come to work in the healthcare system.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
The
the healthcare
healthcare
system here is shit.
Yeah.
In Australia, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like-
I can't
in what
believe I ever
sense?
complained about any healthcare in Australia. And I'm
public
oh, there's
healthcare is
actually
good.
no.
I can't believe how I'm because when I moved here like 2 years ago, maybe I was still under the impression that the NHS was the gold standard
Same,
for
yeah.
healthcare.
Yes.
But I think that might have been the case like maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like we are so past that.
Yeah.
I
Beyond
think America might be better.
Possibly. I've been in Germany.
I've-
and
I
it's
haven't-
fucking amazing.
Yeah, the Germans know how to do healthcare.
I haven't
amazing.
seen a doctor in person since I got here.
Yeah.
And I've made appointments, like, they only do the phone consultation, like, and they will do anything to avoid you coming in to actually get healthcare.
Yeah.
And then when you go in, it's like, because I was in there recently, and they're like, you literally have 10 minutes, and they're like, what's going on? And you're like, well, I've got like 2 things going on, and
Yeah.
they're like, we've only got time for 1.
Yeah,
So you have to prioritize which issue is
I've got a
more.
gunshot
I'm
wound in the
really,
stab wound.
I'm really depressed
Yeah.
about my asshole. It's bleeding.
I had unprotected sex with a person with HIV,
yeah.
and I've also got severe anxiety. I don't know which to.
Which is going to kill me first.
And I'm suicidal.
Okay.
What do I? Yeah, which one should I pick? And then you go in, and they're just like, well, we only have time for 1. So you're like, fuck. So you pick the one that's most urgent, I guess. And then they're just like, I went in the other day, and it was just I was kept waiting for like I'd say about 45 minutes. There was some like severely mentally ill guy who was like came in roaring and shouting, and I was like, oh, it's crazy. Dude, and they gave him his tablets over the thing, and then he took them. He's like, I'm gonna wait here till my tablets kick in. He's like, I can't go outside.
Yeah, this better not be a placebo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
So he
better
sat there.
hope you gave me the right dose.
So he just sat there, just
Waiting for it to kick in.
waiting for the meds kick in for about half an hour, just annoying every single person in the waiting room. He just like would try to get everyone's attention, and then like he was just like there was a little old woman at the counter talking to the thing about like. The receptionist about like some issue she was having.
Sure.
And he was just like, yeah, my mother had that one. My mother, it's very bad. And she turned around and was just like, can you not listen to what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, sorry, love. And then he turns around to us. He's like, what a bitch. Like, and we were all like, oh. And then he tried to start talking to me, and he was just like, oh, I had a pair of those runners or whatever. And he was.
I reckon they should keep him at the clinic to stop. To stop
Yeah, he's like a
everyone coming in.
triage.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
perfect. 'Cause if you can get past the insane guy,
Yeah.
who's going to lock you into an awful conversation
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
room,
How
then
bad-
you really need to see this doctor.
Yeah,
how
I
bad
don't
do
know
you
they're like
need
Dr. Stevens will see, you know, you go in and it's him.
Yeah.
I need my meds kicking before I can start working. And then
It's undercover boss.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And just other insane people. And I was like, oh fuck. And then I went in, and there was just this dude. And he was like, yeah, well, like I said, 10 minutes. And then he checked my temperature with like a temperature gun thing
In the ear.
in the ear.
Okay.
And he just went like this, right? He just, like, I mean, every single time a doctor has done that to me, they go like this, boom, they take out the thing, they get a fresh cap thing, pop it on, boop, take it off, cap off, in the thing, whatever. And
Didn't change the cap?
there was just a temperature thing on the table. He just goes like this, sticks it in my ear, boop, throws it back on the table like that.
Oh, that's so
He's like, I can
funny.
barely feel it if I put that on. He's like, I hate these things. They,
Yeah.
they ruin it. yeah.
I've got an allergy to the
Right,
Yeah.
plastic.
But then he's just there typing
You really want
away.
to? Can I say you really want to be the first patient of the day? I guess.
Oh, you want to be? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or bring your own temperature thing.
Yeah. He does an OnlyFans where he measures 1,000 temperatures in one day.
Yeah. And he did a prostate exam, and he just took a glove out of the bin. But
And he shoved his dick in my ass.
Yeah.
but he
Come to think of it, he wasn't even a doctor.
no, he wasn't.
Come to
Yeah.
think of it, it was just a dude under a bridge. But it was free.
Might as well have been. But
The NHS has really gone to the dogs.
oh, it's gone to the dogs.
Yeah.
And then he just goes. I go to him. What? I go. Did you change that in between patients? And he's there typing on a thing like. And he just ignores me, and I'm
That's
like,
so funny.
I go, did you change that in between? And he's like, his English wasn't great because he wasn't, he was a man of color. And, but his English wasn't great. So he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, the tip on that, did you change it in between patients? And he just goes, Thank you for pointing that out. And he just kept. So did you put someone's dirty fucking?
I really would have made a complaint about that.
Maybe I will. It's not too
Yeah.
late. I mean, I don't think there's
Yeah.
a statute of limitations on.
I would for sure do that.
Well, I think just see if you develop something.
Yeah, and they could
Just
sue the
find out.
NHS for.
I was going to say you should
Yeah.
hopefully
You have
get
enough-
something.
Hopefully, I'll get.
you have enough
something,
wrong
yeah.
with you that you can blame it on that.
Yeah,
Be like, I'm suicidal. I think it's.
suicidal,
I think
yeah.
it's the.
I think it's the dirty tip you
started-
put in my ear.
I have
yeah.
these bad thoughts, and I think it started
Yeah.
in this. left
I'm
ear.
hearing voices.
Yeah, yeah. But he
He implanted a demon in my ear.
in my ears. But the it does help not to sound racist, but to have a doctor who English is their first language.
That does
Because-
help. I will say this though, always relieved when the doctor isn't white.
Yeah, you want someone who's not white but English is their first language.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but for me, not white is ideal.
Why don't
Yeah.
you like a white?
Because
Just better doctors.
You know they're better doctors because immigrants work harder and also they probably have more obstacles to overcome. So if they got to this point, that means they're probably the cream of the crop. Like when
Yeah.
my dad had a heart attack like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and we're like in the hospital and we're waiting for the cardiologist to come and see him.
Yeah.
And this dude, and like on the chart, I could see the guy's name was like Raj, and I was
Yeah.
like, "We're gonna be fine."
We're gonna yeah,
It's
Daddy,
all
you're
gonna
gonna
be
make it.
and then this like Indian dude came in, and
Yeah.
he was just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Thank you so much for being
Namaste.
not white."
Yeah.
yeah, namaste. And we love Ganesh in this family, and I don't know what he was.
Big Ganesh heads.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think I'm prejudiced against white doctors.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
like
we try.
I've never had a good white doctor. My
Yeah.
my oncologist is, I believe he's Vietnamese.
Harold Shipman.
and he's,
he's a good doctor.
but yeah, probably, and he's like the best doctor.
You got a Vietnamese GP?
My GP, a white Jew,
Oh,
which is
okay.
if you can't get,
That's yeah.
yeah, that's just
Second, maybe.
I mean, maybe even sharing the top level.
Right. Okay.
You do want a
Yeah.
big old Jew looking
Yeah,
at
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Also, can we just say I'm a Jew?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. So
anything
you're
that
not-
I say about the Holocaust and whatever
Yeah.
is, you know,
Yeah, you get- yeah,
there's
of course.
irony. You dumb cunts watching this on the
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have to spell everything out for these
You
idiots,
do.
don't
You do. You have to spell everything
They
out.
don't understand when I say something offensive. I was being funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, big old Jew. Those are my pronouns. But that's also my doctor. But yeah, I think like you want a Jew or just someone who's not white. Ideally, they're the
Yeah.
best. They're the cream of the crop.
Yeah, the cream of the crop. I remember I went in when I had like a nervous breakdown in my early 20s, and I went in and I think when it's a psychological issue, you're describing your symptoms or what's going on it's very wordy. I feel like you have to, because when you have like a bad knee, you're like, my knees is sore.
Ow.
Yes.
Owie here,
Yeah.
owie, do
Yes.
something.
That's what I say when I have when I'm depressed. I say, "Ow, here, ow."
I have an owie. I have an ouchie in my brain.
But that's why it took so long. That's why it's taken so long for people to even like work out that mental health illnesses were real.
Yeah.
Because like we just don't even have like a vocabulary.
Yeah,
Exactly. You need a
when you
rich
don't have
vocabulary.
when you just don't have words for something.
Yeah.
You can't even like make it a real thing.
Yeah, of course, because you can't really.
And I still don't think we have the words for mental health illness.
No.
Because all we've
no.
got is anxious and like sad
Yeah.
and like sometimes you'll get like doom. Do you feel doom?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That seems hectic.
Do you
Yeah.
feel impending doom?
Impending doom. That's what they always
Existential.
ask.
Was it existential dread?
But there's got to be more words to describe. Because I got something, but I don't think
Pussy?
any of those
You don't
words.
know, yeah,
I
it's
think,
Are you
all-
a pussy?
I think a soft cock.
exactly. Yeah.
We need a word for soft cock that isn't so derogatory.
Yeah. But
like-
I had to try and verbalize this disorder that it's called depersonalization or derealization, where you basically feel like you're not real, and it was from taking mushrooms. And I'm trying to verbalize this to a guy, a black dude who has like his English isn't his first language,
Right.
and he barely speaks it.
Okay.
And he's like, what do you mean? You're in a dream. And I'm like, fuck, can we, dude, I respect you, but like, seriously, like, can we, and you get that private healthcare and you go in and you're
Yeah.
like, now we're talking. Yeah. But like, that's,
Oh yeah, we see people in a dream all the time.
yeah. But the public, I remember when I went in, that was like public healthcare. And then when in the public healthcare, there was like this, an inpatient hospital that also had like an outpatient section. And when I had to go in and talk to these public doctors. They were like, okay, go into this waiting room, and the waiting room was also like the room where the inpatient people would visit, their families would visit them. So you're just sitting there like playing Snake on your phone or whatever. And then there was just this girl like in tears with her parents being like, I want to leave. And they're like, no, you have to stay. And she's like, the voices are telling me. And I was just like, oh God, this is fucking, shouldn't have taken those shrooms, you know?
So the shrooms brought on
It
unlocked. I had this from acid as well.
He had it from acid as well.
I never
that terrifies me. That's why I'm really scared about ever doing drugs.
Have you ever taken?
I've done weed, and I was really paranoid and anxious.
Yeah.
And I had a bad time.
Yeah.
And I tried mushrooms once, but I don't think I took enough because I didn't really feel anything. Me and my wife were just hanging out in a park in Amsterdam waiting for something to happen.
You got to go to the right place in Amsterdam. They sell a lot of the places that sell it, their shit.
This we got from a friend who was like, this is like legit. And,
right.
Okay.
And he was like, if you just only take half, no more than that.
Yeah.
And we did and we were like conservative. We was like, okay, we'll take a little less than half.
Yeah.
Anyway, nothing happened. But my number one fear is having some sort of like psychological episode, and
for sure.
Yeah, and you never return to Earth.
When I was at school, sorry, we'll hear your story in a second. But when I was at school, there was a girl in year 11 who did weed one, because we would all go to a place called, we would go to Byron Bay when we finished school, right?
Okay, yeah.
And there was a girl in the year above me who had gone to Byron Bay, which is where all the kids go when they finish school, and she had done weed in Byron Bay. Crazy, I know. Wild stuff.
Yeah.
But she had one of those crazy psychotic reactions to the weed.
Yeah.
And was like fucked up for weeks. Like couldn't remember who she was, couldn't remember her family, that kind of shit.
Fuck.
And the school trotted her out.
Yeah.
Every year.
In a straitjacket like this.
Yeah.
This is what happens. Everyone who does weed ends up like this.
One weed.
Yeah.
That means that would have happened to her eventually anyway.
Eventually something would have happened.
Yeah, something is lying on. That's how it was
dormant.
explained to me.
Yeah.
Something is dormant in there. Because I've had friends who just fucking just insane amounts of drugs, and they freak out and they're like, ah, and they wake up the next day and they're like, woo,
It's fine,
and they get on with their lives. So it's a latent fucking thing.
Yeah, it's like something will happen. She could have had a bad gelato, and it would and then they'd be like, you can never. Cookies and cream did this.
Yeah, she would have drank tap water in Blackpool, and it would have fucking fucked her up, you know.
Well, that would probably have more LSD in it than anything you could get in Amsterdam, but. But I remember when that happened. I still remember that from 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And the school would trot her out every year to just to traumatize.
As in, they bring her
kid.
up like this is.
She came and spoke once.
Oh wow!
And after that, sometimes the schools will just be like, "Remember that girl we brought out a couple of years ago who had this? So don't do weed when you go to Byron Bay."
And did it work?
It worked for, I think, a few people for sure.
Yeah,
because it was like we would all talk about it.
It would scare me.
Like, you know, this chick, she was in like a psychiatric ward for like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
It became more and more just like hyperbolic over time, but
I
still remember it, and like that was so long ago.
It feels like that's something that like, as time goes on, people would like Chinese whispers.
Yes.
It'd be like, and she like killed her family, then she pleaded innocent by reason of insanity, and
then she poisoned her family with mushrooms as an adult. Now she's the mushroom killer.
Yeah.
Are you across that story, by the way, the mushroom killer?
I've seen clips of it. So what was it? She killed her.
Step-parents put some poisonous mushrooms. So I just bring it up
Hansel and Gretel or something.
It's just the funniest way to kill people.
So why did she? What's the motive for killing her step-parents? Or she's
something. It was money. It was like if she killed them, then the money. She was trying to kill them and their son, who was her like separated husband. Yeah. And because if they all died, then I think the estate would go to. I think it was just a money thing.
Yeah.
Just classic money. You have to respect a crime that's just
pure
money
business
oriented.
Just business crime.
Yeah, just because there's a lot of people doing crimes of passion.
Yeah.
Which for me are kind of cringe.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like control your emotions.
Yeah, get your shit together.
Regulate, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And then, but this lady is like, no, I'm going back to like old school Shakespearean.
Yeah.
I'm killing you because I've calculated it out.
I want all the
I've
marbles.
thought about it.
And she still has to like cook the meal. And she's like cutting the poisonous mushrooms, and then she's
talk
like
about a
licking her fingers.
premeditated
She's like,
murder.
Yes. Yeah. It's very funny because her defense is I didn't know that the mushrooms were poisonous.
Yeah, she said she
Right.
bought them from like a Chinese supermarket.
Yeah,
or
firstly,
Oh, there you go.
she's
Yeah.
a genius because she's blaming
Chinese people.
Well, yeah, exactly, which is a
Yeah.
genius because
Yeah.
Australia is very racist.
Okay.
There's going to be one person on that jury who's like, yeah,
Oh,
you can't
yep.
trust him.
Yeah.
Yep, I've been in one of them
Ah,
once.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, no, you
Case
can't
closed.
trust him. Tried to buy a Coca-Cola. It had fucking Chinese writing all over it. It's fucking bullshit.
And they said to her, okay, what was the name of the Chinese grocer? And she's like, I don't know. I forget.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they were like, and then they went into her Google history. Her Google history is like, where can I find death cap mushrooms
Oh,
near me?
fuck.
Yeah.
How much death cap mushrooms do you need to serve to someone to
Yeah.
kill?
People are
she
so
has.
dumb.
She hasn't even done incognito. She's
You gotta
just
ask.
like,
You gotta ask how to avoid death cap mushrooms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never want to find them. Where do I
Exactly.
avoid?
Google's like your local Chinese fucking store.
Yeah.
So she obviously didn't eat them herself.
No.
she ate a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Because
you have
she
to do.
knew that if she doesn't eat, it's going to look really sus.
Yeah.
If she just turns up just like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
everyone, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So she had like a tiny amount to feel
To
a
get
bit,
sick.
bit unwell. But it's just hilarious how she just did it so obviously.
Is the
Yeah,
trial
it's
over
not
now?
even-
Has she been sentenced or?
I think it's still going.
Yeah.
I think it's still going.
To not even use incognito
Yeah.
is
Well, it doesn't matter anyway.
fucking
They can
insane.
see. They can
They can
easily find.
But just make
yeah.
it a little bit harder for
Make it
them.
a little bit harder.
What
Most
about
people
Tor or
don't
something
know
like
how
that?
to.
Can they find? Can you use like a Tor browser?
They can
Oh.
probably find it in your own hard drive data. Like it's
Yeah.
You there's a lot you'd have to do to get around actually not being able to.
Right. Okay. So
this is
she's
like
going down.
This is like child pornography level of information.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
concerned that you know this much detail.
No,
No,
I've
it's his
bought
job, it's like-
I've bought
Yeah.
I've bought things on the dark web before.
Like drugs. And
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
And does
What
it
is the
work?
dark web?
It's just the
How do you get onto the dark web?
which is you need
Yeah,
that
it's
you need to
always-
use a thing called Tor browser, which
Tor
is
browser.
Yeah. So it's just basically you
an app.
you can't get there through normal search engines, but everyone has access to it essentially. But yeah, there's different browsers you can use to get to it, and it the way it works is it's like it hides you because it's going through like 12 different other computers to get to you first, if that makes sense.
So it
it's
hides
like-
the IP address.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
I use it to watch BBC iPlayer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like people are using it to like plan terror attacks, and you're
Yeah,
just
I
like,
mean,
I just wanted to watch Downton Abbey.
I just want to watch Louis Theroux. But yeah, so buying drugs on the dark web, it just gets posted to your house. You
Yep.
collect it from one of those.
Yeah. I got it sent to Australia. I was just like, I'll see if this works.
Yeah.
And I got sent some edibles. Yeah.
I had
Oh,
friends
really?
do it, and they ordered. Yeah,
But
like
here you
shrooms
can
or
just
something,
can
yeah.
just order weed off like normal websites.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, like I've like
What's the
this-
deal with weed here? It's not legal, but everyone's on
It's-
it, and I
it's-
smell it everywhere.
I
It's,
think it's like they just don't give a shit.
They
It's
just
on
turn
the.
a blind
I think
eye.
they're planning on decriminalizing it, and it's
Yeah.
like cops just don't have the resources. I think to bother going after it.
yeah.
Yeah. If they, yeah. But
My
go
phone
on.
got snatched. There's
Really?
some crimes that the police are just like, we're not actually trying for this one anymore.
Oh no, they don't.
Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
honestly, I say this genuinely, if you're strapped for cash, start stealing phones
Hmm.
because there
Yeah.
are no consequences now for stealing a phone.
Yeah.
I got my phone stolen and reported and all that kind of stuff, and I had the location of where the phone was on my phone. Gave that to the police.
Yeah.
And the police will say we can't go to that home if it's like a building, if like it's a flat, because
Yeah.
we don't have a warrant to go into the
Right,
flat.
right.
But this was just like a home.
yeah.
Like I looked at it on Google Maps. I was like, I think I could see the guy with my phone on Google Maps.
Right. Yeah.
And I spoke to the police about it. I spoke to these two cops on the street who I knew would give me an actual answer.
Yeah.
Because I spoke to these two cops and I was like, hey, just my phone got stolen the other day. I've reported it. I've been in contact with the police station. Is there any chance that my phone will be gotten back to me at any point in the future? And they had just laughed in my face. They were
Yeah.
like, no, it's not going to happen.
So where
they were
was
like,
this?
They were like, it's going to end up in Shenzhen, China in a few days. Because all stolen phones.
I'll go to China.
Because
Wait.
all stolen phones end up in Shenzhen, China, and get resold.
Right.
And 3 days later, I go and find my phone. It's in Shenzhen, China.
Really?
Yeah, back to where it was made, which I think is kind of
Back to the kid who
just
made
kind
it.
of like
Wow, the prodigal son.
Yeah, I want
Circle of
to.
life.
I want to do a bit about how like I hope there's a kid in China who opens up like a Christmas present this year and is like, I remember making this.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that was.
That is good recycling. to be
Actually,
fair.
that's
Yeah.
the definition of recycling.
Yeah, yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Because you would have got enough new phones soon and thrown that in the bin, and let the lithium battery slowly destroy the planet. But
Exactly.
that could have.
So
Now that's gone to
whereabouts was this now? Where were you stand? Where were you?
This was Soho.
What were you wearing?
This is Central Soho.
Yeah, what were you wearing?
Can I say, I understand victim blaming people when they're walking around with the phone in their hand. Like my parents came to visit me, and my father is just such a boomer. He's just horrible. He's also because he's got bad eyesight, so he doesn't hold the phone out from here with a massive text. And I'm like, you actually deserve to be a victim of crime here. Yeah. But I feel like I was very unlucky. I was driving in my car.
What?
Whoa.
And the phone was in the holder.
Window open,
warm night, because it was like, it would be like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Hot night. So I had the window down, and I was driving back from a gig, and some cunt in a motorbike pulled it out and sped off. And I proudly, I will say,
didn't run him down.
Well, I sped after him.
He probably did not shout the N-word.
Yeah. I got 5 letters in to the M-word, and I stopped myself.
You got to spell it out for them sometimes.
Yeah, that's
I'll
what I'm.
take that,
Oh
yeah.
no, I yelled the N-word. Don't worry about that. No. No, I was gonna say I chased after him for a bit
In the car?
In the car,
Nice,
I went through a
okay.
few red lights to get this car.
Nice.
And I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, "What's the plan for me here? Like, what do I?" I guess I hoped that if I chased him, he might panic and like throw the phone or something.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I was hoping for. But eventually, I just lost him in traffic.
Have you seen the videos? Because the cops, they made it legal a few years ago. The cops are allowed to like pit maneuver them. So they're allowed to just, if they see it happen, if they need to take down those scooter gangs, they're allowed to just ram them with their car. So there's compilations. If you ever want to feel
cops
better,
ramming these cunts with their cars?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
It's,
Is that on the
it's
dark
really
web? I'll get the
satisfying.
dark web.
You don't even have to go to the dark web. It's openly on YouTube.
But this is the thing.
That's satisfying.
Yeah,
I wonder if I could see my dude.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, it's like it's high risk, high reward though, because I've seen some videos of people stealing phones and then a members of the public intervene and tackle the guy. Yeah, I mean, biggest fear is like getting my phone.
But if you're only caught trying to steal one phone, they're not gonna, the punishment's not gonna be that. It's not like when you're caught with a knife.
I think they just say, please don't do that again.
This is your first of many warnings.
Class chance. Did you guys have that at school? When there'd be a class chance?
No.
Class
What's
chance.
that?
Oh, I thought it might be an Australian thing. That was just a my school thing.
Wait.
It would be like, okay, we're playing like a game of cricket, and someone goes up to bat, and they get bowled out on the first ball.
Okay.
And they go, class chance. Like, you gotta let me have one more chance.
Oh, like a mulligan.
Like a mulligan.
Yeah. Like, just like, let me have one more chance because it's the first ball of the day. That kind of thing.
Okay.
I feel like if you on your first phone snatch, you're like, okay, class chance, don't do it again. Though.
Yeah.
And then they do it every day for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even like on the tube and stuff with my phone. I always kind of usually have it in my hand because I'm just paranoid of a fucking pickpocket or whatever.
Yeah.
But have you ever been like arrested yourself?
No. Never been arrested. No, I barely had any. I mean, I'm a white Jew from Australia.
Okay.
I've never had any real run-ins with the law.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
In fact, when it happened, I was like, what's the number for the police in this country?
Yeah.
I realized I don't know the number for the police.
It's 999.
999, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait,
In Australia, it's 000.
Yeah.
000.
So I was going to hit 000.
Yeah,
and then I realized I don't even have a phone
works.
to type the 000.
I think if you use any emergency number in most countries, it works.
I've heard that recently.
Yeah, I think they made if you type 911 in any country in the world, it goes straight to the cops, which shows how much America dominates the culture.
Well, also because they probably, whenever they have an emergency, just probably go to that. They don't even consider
that it's an American
Yeah,
number.
they're like, exactly. Yeah.
I heard someone saying, I met someone once who thought that 911 was like, they changed it to 911 after 9/11.
Yes, I remember hearing that.
Or is that like a joke? Is that someone's hacky joke? Or is that...
I remember that was like I think that's a thing they tell Gen Z kids who are too dumb to know that that's not true.
Yeah. Oh, dude, speaking of that, fucking me and Hamish were in Leicester Square, and there was a pram with a baby in the pram, and then there was a phone on the ground propped up against the pram, and then the two parents, they were recording a TikTok.
Right.
They were dancing or whatever.
And the baby was directing.
Yeah, the baby was
was crying.
The baby was screaming, crying.
Yeah.
And the parents just fuck you, we're doing this.
We should have snatched the baby on the phone.
That's what, I was trying to write a bit about it last night where I was that baby would have a better life if it got abducted.
If it got snatched,
If someone stole that baby,
Yeah.
it would. Yeah.
What do you think would upset the parents more if someone stole the phone or the baby?
Oh,
The
that's
phone for
good.
sure.
The phone for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause they're
They
like,
can-
we
you can
worked
make-
so hard on that fucking.
Because they actually will look for the baby.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
They're still
yeah.
looking for Madeleine McCann.
Exactly.
That was
yeah.
like, when was that? 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still
If the
looking
McCann-
out. She's not got a baby anymore.
Yeah. If the McCann saw that, they would have.
It makes me think it's this police that did it. Because they're like, why are they still looking? They're like, yeah, we're still looking for. It's like they're trying to get people off the scent that they did it.
Well, some people are convinced it was the parents.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dying
really
on the hill.
I don't know anything about it.
Mm.
They were in Portugal,
They're in Portugal.
and the parents went out, and the
Yeah.
girl went missing.
The parents got the munchies, and they fucking. Oh yeah, they're in this place called Praia Deluge. They're in a fucking resort. They went out for dinner with other parents, and they all kind of like there was a babysitting service available from the fucking hotel or whatever.
Okay.
They're like, no, we're just gonna leave the kids alone in this.
No, we're
in
going
our
to
apartment.
murder our children.
We're gonna.
Yeah.
no, we're gonna kill our daughter. No, that won't be necessary.
We actually crunched some numbers. It's way cheaper for us to kill our child.
She's a bit of a brat. But she.
Because also we might be out late, and I don't want to have to pay the babysitter extra if we want to stay out
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
So we're just gonna.
Yeah, and we're gonna drink. We don't have to deal with kids with a hangover. Like, when you think about it, you're on that kind of on their side now. But their defense was like, oh, we could see our apartment from where we were sitting in the restaurant,
Okay.
and they'd go and check like every 20 or 30 minutes.
But every
to see.
parent would do that back then. I would have been left.
Yeah,
alone for that age,
that's
for
true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, what year are we talking about here?
2007.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting a babysitter for that kid.
Yeah.
No.
Not if you're in the same resort still.
Yeah,
Like-
they were like they could see the thing as like a 2-minute walk,
Yeah.
but they left 2 other kids.
Any parent would have done that.
And then Madeline, who was like, I don't know how old she was, maybe 6 or 7, and the
How old
kids
were
were
the other
like,
kids?
huh?
How old were the other kids?
Much younger, maybe like
Oh,
2
younger.
or 3 or 4. Yeah.
Oh,
like-
okay. Maybe that's a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of them went. I can't remember if it was the mum or another member of the. They'd go. I'll go check on all the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the parents would go and check on everyone's kids, and they just
Mm.
took turns. So I can't remember who went, but obviously someone went, and then Madam McCann was gone. The window was open, and then fucking.
But the other
That was
kids
it.
were there.
Oh, the kids were there. Yeah.
In this story,
Mm.
I call it a story. It could be
Yeah.
real, but in this story,
This fantasy.
It is fantasy.
in this fucking lie, so
In this narrative created by
What-
the parents.
so like someone is going around abducting children.
Mm-hmm.
They take the 6-year-old, but don't go for the 2, 3, 4-year-old.
No. Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
Right. If you're in for a penny, in for a pound.
I mean,
Take all 3 kids.
Look, I'm not a pedophile.
Oh,
or
no,
an
you pick
abductor.
when you
I'm
go.
not. I have no. I'm not that. But
Yeah.
if I were, the first thing I'm doing is
Yeah.
I'd be like, jackpot. We're
Yeah,
taking
we're
all the
taking
kids.
all-
No, when you
Three.
go fishing, you throw back the small ones.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, someone else will get this in a few years. You know what I mean? You're not
Right. Right.
gonna-
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to go too easy. Too easy.
It's kind of like you got to preserve the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right,
like,
yeah.
it's like- yeah. Like you can't over.
The other pedophiles will get mad. They're
Yeah.
like, you can't take a 2-year-old.
What am I supposed to do with a 2-year-old?
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was like more than one like kidnapper, and they went into the room and they're like taking Madeline or whatever, and then they went to one of them went to take one of the other kids and like at least leave one kid.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Take all their kids. Are you fucking insane?
Yeah.
These people have to live their
I'm
lives.
reading.
Yeah, I love the idea that pedophiles have a code of conduct.
Yeah. Yeah. They get brought in front of a trial tribunal.
Yeah, well, imagine
Pedophile
this guy,
tribunal.
he picks up the 3-year-old and he like turns to like his accomplices like, what do you think? And they're like, yeah. They're like, ew, no,
No,
fucking.
save that one for Epstein. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeffrey will get them. Just put them down, and then
Well, that's it for me. I mean, seriously, that's strange to me. That
Yeah.
is a big hole in the story for me.
but also I feel like if all 3 of the kids went missing, like the parents, it'd be harder for the parents to make 3 kids.
Yeah, the baby might have been
Disappear.
crying. You don't want to take a crying baby.
No, I know. I learned that the hard way. No, I'm sorry, but they have a guy at the moment who they think did it. This guy Christian Bruckner.
They think
from-
he abducted.
They
the
think he
child.
was killed and did whatever with her because he was in Praia Deluge at the time, and he's got like one of these cunts. He's got like a load of convictions in his past for like molesting girls and kidnapped, and then he's currently
quite
in
the
prison.
resume.
Huh?
Quite the resume.
Quite the resume.
Yeah,
Quite,
wow.
very impressive.
Yeah.
Like, what's this gap in your resume? I was in prison. But so he's currently in prison for like raping an Irish woman, like a 90-year-old woman. So this guy's got range. So 90-year-old
At
woman.
his defense.
Yeah.
No.
Afraid to the grave.
I'm like, I didn't do metal.
She's not my type. What are we?
Yeah.
Not my type, guys.
God.
But unbelievable. But
Do you think people of normal age at like 30-year-olds are gross to him? Like he's like, ugh.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
He
He's
just
like,
likes the
"Ugh."
extremes.
Yeah, like the extremes. Yeah. But so then he was in prison for whatever, but then it transpired that he was in Prior Deluge when she went missing, and his car that
Was
he
he
had
there
at
on
the
holiday?
time. Huh?
Was he there on holiday or did he live there?
He kind of lived
Okay.
like a vagrant, like out of his car or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had a car at the time that matched the description of a car that was like seen circling the area on the day she went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a girlfriend at the time who was, I think, of age, and she told police that on the day
She was 97.
she was 97. But
She was very of age.
yeah.
She hasn't been carded since the 18th century.
Yeah, and then
Technically, the average age of his lovers are,
the rare, exactly, yeah.
30,
Yeah.
40.
He's actually,
Yeah, his rule is half your age plus 80. But
or minus.
he, and then his girlfriend at the time told police that on the day Madeleine McCann went missing, he was like, I'm going to be gone for like 2 days, but I'll be back. I've got to do something.
Right.
And so there's like a bunch
Yeah,
of
vagrants
circumstances.
constantly have to do things for a couple of days.
Exactly, yeah. I'm going to be on a business trip.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why it must be hard to be on a jury, because I heard the first half of the story.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the parents did it.
Yeah.
And now I hear the second half of the story, and I'm like, oh, he did it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can see why this has really captured people's imaginations.
But there was a Netflix documentary that came out, and it really heavily implied that it was the parents. Because they had blood sniffer dogs come in and they detected blood in the apartment and then blood in the car that the parents rented at the time. And there's a bunch of weird evidence that would...
That could have been the fish that they were trying to smuggle back home.
yeah. The McCann's in a suitcase filled with fish.
You know how they got like Al Capone on tax?
Right,
They
yeah.
They got the McCanns on border security violations.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But now they're still digging up like land around. Recently they dug up land near where that guy was living, the Christian Bruckner guy. And I think there's this classic thing as well, like he confessed to it in prison to like but you can't trust fucking people that are in prison. Some guy said or was he in a bar or something? Was that different? Like some guy who was in a bar and he was just like drinking. She came up on the TV and he was like, "Yeah, that was me."
If that gets proven, can the McCanns sue Netflix?
Oh yeah,
And be
McCann's
like-
could sue. I'm pretty sure they have sued newspapers and stuff for heavily implying that they did it. But I mean, if it came out that they didn't, they're owed a big apology. From
Yeah, they'd just do a victory
so
tour.
many people.
Told you!
Yeah.
They're just like,
Told you we didn't kill
fuck
her."
you! Told you we didn't kill that bitch!
Yeah, we're still shitty parents, but
yeah.
we didn't do it.
Well, do you know, like it's like the dingo ate my baby, like Lindy. Do you know about Lindy Chamberlain?
No, but was that her alibi that a baby? Not her alibi,
Dingo
but
ate
her.
a
She
baby,
was
yeah.
the OG McCanns.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was out camping somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know the exact story either, but yeah, there was like, that famous quote of her being like, but she wasn't a very good actor. It wasn't very convincing, right? That was the thing.
Well, she was, I think, convicted of killing her baby.
Okay.
And her defense was a dingo took my baby. Like, that's
Right.
like her on the news.
Okay.
And everyone in Australia is like, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And also, if that did happen, we can't let that get out. It's just a bad look for the country.
Right,
If
okay.
if the dingo took
Oh,
your
because
baby.
then no one will come to Australia.
Yeah, it's just I mean, like, we're already seen as like backwards,
Okay.
idiots.
Yeah, okay.
And now you're talking about dingo took me baby. It's not a good look.
So-
it's not a good tourism campaign.
Did the dingo take her baby?
And the dingo took her baby.
Wait, how did they prove that?
I think they just found I don't know. I'm pretty sure they found a skeleton at some point.
Wow.
I'm very confident that I'm very confident I'm retelling the facts of this case correctly.
Right.
Feel free to fact check the internet. But yeah, I think she was convicted and then like later acquitted or something because of
The
new
dingo
evidence.
felt so guilty. He came.
The dingo
And
came
did the
forward.
dingo go to prison?
The dingo
or-
was in a bar one night drinking.
The dingo confessed.
Yeah.
That was me, actually.
Yeah, the dingo's girlfriend said that one night.
Yeah,
He said,
the dingo was dating a 97-year-old.
yeah. But I'd love if, like, when the McCanns got questioned by the police, they were just like, "Dingo took our baby."
Yeah,
in
yeah,
an
yeah.
Australian accent.
And,
They're like,
and they're like, "No, we've heard that one before."
yeah, like, we don't have dingoes in Portugal. But I know a story. A guy called Connor Burns. He's a Scottish comic, and he said he did a gig up in Scotland, which is where they're from, and or at least the dad's from Scotland. And he was and the McCann, Kate and Jay McCann were in the front row of the gig.
Well, I
And-
mean, if anyone needs a laugh, yeah.
I know, yeah.
I've had a rough time.
But like, and someone did crowd work on them, and they were like, "What do you do?" And they're both like, "Oh, we're both doctors."
We lie on the
yeah,
news.
yeah. We lose our kids. But
They're doctors.
they were doctors, and a few people in the room clocked because they've got like a very distinctive, and I think a few people in the room clocked it, and then the MC got off stage or whatever, and then the comic was like, "That's Kate and Jerry McCann in the front row," and
It's insane that they would sit in the front row
I
of
know.
a comedy show.
You know when people are hesitant to sit in the front row? Like,
Yeah.
I
You know,
totally get it with them.
There's that hacky line of when like, oh, you're on a date, oh, and you sat in the front row of a comedy show.
Right, yeah.
Imagine being like, oh, you killed your kid and you sat in the front row of a comedy show.
yeah. But like, surely they would know that the chances of them going to a comedy club and hearing a Madeleine McCann joke. Do you think enough time has passed that they would laugh at a Madeleine McCann joke?
They probably don't even clock it. They'd just be like, "Oh, my kid. Oh, yeah." They just like,
Imagine-
they didn't get the joke. They're like, "Oh,
Well,
wait, man."
I think if they did it, they would laugh.
Yeah.
If they didn't do it, they wouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
So I reckon that's the best way to test guilt.
If they
Yeah.
didn't do it, they'd laugh.
If they did not do it,
Yeah.
they would not laugh.
Oh, I think it's the other way around.
I think if they did it, they would laugh.
Depends if they feel
No,
So
I
a
guilty.
bit
think
like,
if they
ha-ha.
did it, they wouldn't laugh because they don't want to seem suspicious.
Oh, but my point,
You know what I mean?
is like they're being secretly filmed. They don't know they're being.
Oh,
That's my
okay.
point.
Right.
So I think really the only way to find it if they're guilty is to get the footage from
them
that
laughing
show
at a joke.
and see if they laughed or not.
I'd love if some guy.
Imagine getting sent to jail forever because of a crowd work clip.
I love the idea of like a comic on stage. He doesn't know it's Kate and Jamie McCann. He does a Madeleine McCann joke, and they don't laugh. And he's like, "Oh, you find that offensive? You don't like my Madeleine McCann joke?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're her parents." You're just like, "Oh boy,
Yikes.
yikes!"
It's like
Yeah.
doing a 9/11 joke. Like,
Yeah.
What? You don't like a 9/11 joke? I'm a twin tower.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually Tower 7.
Terrible.
so-
I remember once Ben Henley, who listens to this, we were doing a gig at, I don't know if you've ever done Cafe Mode, that horrendous room.
I
In,
might have done it when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll never do that again.
yeah, and he did this joke about how he goes,
Who's this? Sorry.
Ben Henley,
Okay.
and he goes, he did a 9/11 joke, and then he was like, something about him, he's like, I survived 9/11, and he was like, I was in England, but I technically survived it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then some woman down the back was like, no. And then he was like, well, there's only like 5 people in the room. And he was like, what's going on? She's like, my sister was in 9/11. And then her boyfriend, I think she was like making it up or exaggerating because her boyfriend, I was down the back of the room and her boyfriend kind of looked at her like, what are you doing? But he might have been like, what are you doing, fucking heckle or whatever. But he was just like, what are you doing? And she was like, my sister was in 9/11. And then Ben was just like, oh.
The
And
movie?
The movie? Yeah. Your sister's Nicolas Cage. But he goes, are you, and he goes, oh my God, did she die? And she goes, no, she survived. And he goes, well, then who fucking cares? He goes, so did I survived.
I was also in 9/11.
Yeah, I survived 9/11 as well, so it's fine. That was Michael Shafar. Go follow him on Instagram. It's in the show notes, where there's also a link to the Patreon. On the Patreon, you get to listen to the second half of every episode each week. And there's also some random surprises, nice little things in there. And it's a great way to support the podcast. So that would be greatly appreciated if you could do that, as always. Just tell people about the pod. I would blow you till the cows come home if you did that. And yeah, what else? Doing a solo show on the 19th of July in London. Go onto my Instagram for tickets to that. And apart from that, I love you. Thank you very much for listening as always. And I hope things are going well for you. All right. See you next week. All right, bye now. Bye.